Hello, good afternoon. I'm going to be sharing with you another literary analysis, and it also forms part of English drama on Warhorse. And this is a book written by Michael Walpurga about World War One and a horse. And basically, let's look at the background first to this amazing story and movie. In 1914, Joey, a horse, was a farm horse, and he worked helping the farmer, and he was then sent as due to a request as a war horse to help the World War One soldiers, and he wanted to help them drag all the guns and the equipment, etc. So he was sold to the army, and that's an example of symbolism and service. He enters the war on the Western Front, and that's an example of imagery. It's a reflection of the World War One soldiers and their reflection in Joey the horse's eyes. He's like all looking at them, looking after them. I notice he was a horse that was touched the souls of English, French, and German soldiers on both sides. In the desolation of the trenches, Joey's courage touches everybody. And this is personified as the horse becoming part of the World War One soldiers. Now, the Michael Walpurga based the book on an old oil painting in a village hall. And in the village hall, which was once an old school, there's an old clock, and below it hangs this painting. And in the painting is a splendid red bay with a remarkable white cross emblazoned on his forehead. And he has 4 perfectly matched white socks on his legs. He looks wistfully out at the picture with his ears pricked forward and his head turned. So he's kind of like welcoming you into the picture, and again personified as part of the World War One soldiers and the cause. Look more closely at the picture, and you'll see written in fading black copper plate writing across the bottom of the bronze frame: Joey, painted by Captain James Nichols, autumn 1914. So Joey's story was written so that neither he nor those who knew him, nor the war they lived and died in, will be forgotten. And World War One was one of the most tragic of wars. Indeed, Sebastian Faulks, a famous poet, wrote, "I know, I was there. I saw the great void in your soul, and you saw mine." So Sebastian Faulks was writing about the desolation and loneliness of World War One. Before I move on to an analysis of Warhorse and how he touched a family in France, let's see if we can share your screen of some of the images. So if we look at a video first, hopefully the sound will be loud enough. So there the soldiers using a pair of improvised telescope to have a look. Notice it's over the trench, so that'll get shot. For some reason this is slowed up a bit. There you can see a horse. They spot a horse. See? Apologies, this is slightly, for some reason, slightly. And there's the German soldiers on the other side, and they're having a look as well through their improvised binoculars, and they see a horse. It's a horse. And that horse is Joey. So both sides, the British and the Germans, have noticed a horse. Okay. So it's it's linking the two sides together as if they're family in a sense. So they try and call the horse. And in unison, they're calling the horse. Quite humorous that. Whistling at the horse, calling it, amazing. Okay, so World War One wasn't all about the enemy. They actually were all men that fought. They were all men that fought together, and that gives an indication of how an animal can bond people who are at war. Now, there's another thing that I noted in the book, and it's another instinct. And Emily was a little French girl who stayed with her granddad. She had lost both her parents, probably from bombing in World War One, and she was alone and, in a sense, very sad. But when Joey came around, she decided to take care of the horse. The horse was slightly injured, and the horse had a companion. The granddad had foresight and instinct to care for the horses, and Emily fed them and groomed them. So they live for devotion, love, hope, and loss. And these are themes that are well ingrained within the book. The promise of the girl to her granddad to take care of the horses is also something that is quite remarkable and brings a togetherness even in tragedy. World War One, of course, was a great war of much death and cruelty. The animals, they had gentle, and horses particularly gentle eyes. And the horse obeys Emily, who had no family. Her parents are killed. And the journey and her granddad, and when Emily does get sick and eventually dies herself, her granddad promised to find the two horses, in particular Joey, who had been taken by the German soldiers from that family for use in the World War One. Eventually, the horses returned to the home of the Englishman who sold it to the army. And this is a poignant example of their togetherness. And there's a lot of sort of oxymorons in the sense that war is destructive and there's a lot of death. Yet, amongst war, you can have brotherhood amongst the enemies, and you can have friendliness amongst the civilians and both sides of the conflict. So although Emily's granddad never did everything Emily wanted, he did and certainly look for this horse and eventually found it and bidded for it. At that particular time, the former owner of the horse noticed the horse, and the granddad was kind enough to give him back the horse. So this is an excellent book to analyze, and see if we can get another share screen for you. Yeah. Here's another video. If it plays, it should be playing shortly. There we go. This is Joey. Albert is the Englishman who owned the horse. Joey the horse recognizes Albert's call. So he tries again, runs off and tries again. Let's see if he's successful. And he's making the sound of a pigeon. And there, Joey runs to him, recognizes his voice. So the loyalty of an animal, horse, and its owner is a bond that can never be broken. Okay. Just pause that. And I wanted to share with you another. There we go. There we go. And there's the book cover. And there's Joey. Joey in the World War I trenches on the both sides, the Germans and the English. He's in between, so he's linking them together, and he's touched both sides. And Albert, his owner, original English owner. So it's a lovely, lovely story to read. So I encourage you to read it and enjoy your studies in English, and think about the points I've raised and the language techniques used, and just relax, read a book, and watch the movie if you want as well. It's also quite fascinating. So take care, and till next time, bye.